In a quiet Amish village nestled in the rolling hills of Pennsylvania, 16-year-old Miriam Yoder was known for her striking green eyes and curious mind. Two things that made her stand out in a community that valued conformity above all. Life in the village followed strict traditions, with technology forbidden, and every step monitored by the watchful eyes of elders. For Miriam, however, the rules felt like an invisible cage. Late at night, she would lie awake in her small wooden bed, staring at the dim glow of the oil lamp. On those nights, her mind often drifted to the tattered book hidden beneath the floorboard. It was a forbidden item she had stumbled upon at a market, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Each word she read felt like a crack in the walls of her world. One summer evening, Miriam overheard her father, Jacob, talking in hushed tones to elder Ezekiel. They were discussing Rumspringa, the Amish rite of passage where teens were allowed a taste of the outside world before deciding whether to commit to the community. But her father was adamant. Miriam won't be needing such nonsense. She's a good girl, obedient. Miriam's heart sank. The choice she desperately craved was being taken away. The next day, Miriam began plotting her escape. Her best friend Rebecca had heard of a boy named Eli who had left the community a year prior. Rumor had it that Eli lived in a nearby town, blending into the English world. Miriam decided she would find him. Gathering scraps of courage, she prepared for her journey. She stuffed a few dresses, her secret book, and some bread into a sack. She hid her belongings under the buggy barn, waiting for the perfect moment. That moment came a week later during the annual barn raising, where the entire community gathered to work. As laughter and hammering filled the air, Miriam slipped away unnoticed. After hours of walking under the blazing sun, Miriam reached the edge of the town. Cars whizzed past her, their roaring engines making her flinch. She spotted a diner with a glowing neon sign that read, "Lenny's Grill." Nervous but determined, she stepped inside, feeling every eye on her plain Amish dress. "Can I help you, sweetheart?" a kind-looking waitress asked. "I'm looking for someone," Miriam said, her voice trembling. "His name is Eli. He left the Amish community." The waitress nodded slowly. "You're not the first to ask about Eli. He works down at the mechanic's shop, 2 blocks away." When Miriam found Eli, she barely recognized him. Gone were his simple clothes and neatly combed hair. Instead, he wore a grease-stained t-shirt and spoke with a confidence she couldn't fathom. He agreed to help her but warned, "Leaving isn't just about walking away. They'll come looking for you, Miriam." Eli wasn't wrong. Back in the village, her absence was quickly noticed. The elders, furious and embarrassed, sent 2 men to track her down. By the time Miriam and Eli learned of this, it was almost too late. They fled town together in Eli's rusty pickup truck, heading for the city. On the road, Miriam experienced things she'd only dreamed of: a bustling city skyline, a crowded shopping mall, and the overwhelming sound of music blasting from every corner. But the freedom was short-lived. The men sent by the elders weren't far behind. One night, as Miriam and Eli checked into a cheap motel, a knock on the door sent shivers down their spines. It was the men. "Come home, Miriam," one of them said sternly. "You don't belong here." Miriam, shaking with fear, made a choice that surprised even herself. "No," she said, her voice steady. "I won't go back." The men left, warning her of dire consequences, but the encounter left Miriam rattled. Eli suggested she contact an organization that helped people leave restrictive communities. It was there she uncovered a shocking truth. Her mother, whom she had been told died during childbirth, had actually left the Amish life. Driven by this revelation, Miriam began digging deeper. With the help of the organization, she found her mother living in another state. Their reunion was bittersweet. Her mother explained that she had tried to reach Miriam but was blocked by the community. "I left because I wanted you to have a choice," her mother said tearfully. Armed with newfound strength, Miriam began to rebuild her life. She enrolled in school, found a job, and started exploring the world she had once only read about. Though her journey was far from easy, she never regretted her decision. As for the Amish community, they eventually stopped searching for her. But Miriam knew one thing for certain: she would never stop searching for herself. Months passed, and Miriam flourished in ways she had never imagined. She learned how to navigate the complexities of the English world, from opening a bank account to mastering the mysterious contraptions called smartphones. Eli remained a steadfast friend, guiding her through challenges and celebrating her milestones. Together, they shared stories of their past and dreams of the future. Miriam's relationship with her mother grew stronger. Her mother, Abigail, introduced her to books, movies, and a new kind of faith, one that didn't rely on fear or control, but on love and understanding. For the first time, Miriam felt she could shape her own beliefs, rather than having them dictated to her. But as Miriam built her new life, shadows from her old one occasionally crept in. Letters from Rebecca arrived sporadically, hidden in plain envelopes with no return address. They spoke of longing, of questioning the community's rigid rules, and of missing their midnight talks by candlelight. Miriam wrote back, urging Rebecca to stay strong and promising that she would always be there for her, should she ever decide to leave. 1 year after her escape, Miriam received an unexpected invitation. Rebecca wanted to meet. Nervous but hopeful, Miriam agreed. They met at a quiet park in the neighboring town, far from the prying eyes of the Amish elders. Rebecca, dressed in the plain attire of their community, looked around nervously before embracing Miriam. "I don't know if I can do what you did," she whispered, "but I had to see for myself that you're okay." Miriam smiled. "I'm more than okay. I'm free." As they talked, Rebecca revealed a piece of information that left Miriam stunned. "After you left, the elders were furious. But what scared them most was that others started questioning things. Your leaving made them realize that they can't control everyone forever." Miriam realized that her decision to leave had rippled through the community, planting seeds of doubt and curiosity. She wasn't just living her truth, she was inspiring others to consider their own. With Rebecca's visit, Miriam felt a sense of closure. She no longer needed to look over her shoulder or feel guilty for choosing her own path. She began volunteering at the organization that had helped her, supporting others who wanted to leave restrictive lives. Her story became a beacon of hope for those yearning for freedom. Years later, Miriam stood in front of a packed audience at a conference for survivors of controlling communities. Clad in a simple but elegant dress, she spoke with confidence. "I once believed my only purpose in life was obedience," she said. "But I learned that purpose is something you create, not something handed to you. Leaving wasn't easy. It was painful, terrifying, and lonely. But it was also the best decision I ever made. And if I can do it, so can you." The crowd erupted into applause. Among the faces, she spotted her mother, Eli, and even Rebecca, who had finally taken her own first steps toward freedom. Miriam smiled, no longer the scared Amish girl who once hid books under her floorboards. She was now a woman of her own making, a symbol of resilience, hope, and the unyielding power of choice. Her story wasn't just hers anymore. It belonged to everyone who dared to dream of a life beyond the boundaries they were born into. If you were in Miriam's shoes, would you have taken the risk to leave everything behind and start a new life? Or would you have stayed in the safety of the community? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring and thought-provoking stories like this one. Your support means the world to us.